Yes, actually, my parents have told me the story of how I was conceived, and that's horrific. And that's another Ignite talk, one for well after dark. Thanks, Ed. So, when I was a kid, my favourite day of the year was Pancake Day because I love pancakes, and that was the one day of the year when my mum had to make them. That was the law, at least in our house. And Pancake Day, or Shrove Tuesday, as it should probably be called, is the day before the beginning of Lent. And historically, it was the day you used up all the good stuff, like eggs and butter, before you began the 40-day fast in the run-up to Easter. And I know a lot of people who give stuff up for Lent. Some of them are religious people, some of them aren't. People give up things like sweets and chocolate, or these days people give up Facebook and Twitter. And I've never been any good at giving up anything for Lent, probably because it feels quite negative to give things up. So this year I had an idea, which I discussed with my wife Kathy, that I would try and do something positive, and I was going to try and write a letter every day to a different person during Lent. And I thought it would be a way of thanking people for the things they've done for me, or telling them how much I appreciate their friendship. And Kathy decided it was something she wanted to do as well. So we came up with some rules. Firstly, we were going to be encouraging. This wasn't an opportunity to write to people and tell them how they'd let us down and list all our grievances. And we were going to try and write one every single day. And we wrote to all kinds of people, old uni friends, people we'd grown up with but fallen out of contact with, members of our family, and people we saw regularly as well, a whole different bunch of people. One of the hard things for me was choosing the right writing paper, because we'd accumulated a lot of sets, and a lot of them had cartoon animals on. And you can have a bit of fun matching up your friend's personality with the cartoon animals, but you have to be careful, because nobody would mind getting a happy giraffe or a bouncy zebra. You could possibly get away with a cheeky monkey. But hippos, yeah, that might cause offence. The other thing we learned is that actually there are more than 40 days in Lent. So I'd been keeping a list of all the people I'd written to, and I'd written over 30 letters, and I suddenly realised there were more than 10 days to go to Easter Saturday. What was going on? Apparently, you don't count the Sundays in Lent. I didn't know this. So that's why the talk is called 40 Letters or More, because I ended up writing more than 40 letters. In fact, between us, Kathy and I wrote 87 letters. And the youngest person I wrote to was my godson, who's 5 years old, and the oldest person I wrote to was my great-aunt, who's 90. And my godson didn't write back. But a lot of people did get back in touch. Some people spoke to me in person. Some people sent me texts or messages on Facebook. 4 people actually sent letters back to me. And when people got back in touch, they kind of said that actually they were really surprised to get an actual handwritten letter through the post. And it felt very special. And a lot of people said it made them feel quite emotional. And one of my friends said it made her cry in a good way. Another of my friends said that she was going through a difficult time, and so she carried the letter around in her handbag, and she'd get it out every so often to reread and remind herself that she was going to be okay. So what have I learnt from this? Well, firstly, I think everybody has tough times. Life is difficult, and we can never have too much encouragement. So I've got one friend, he received my letter. It was the day he'd gone back to work after being on holiday, and something had gone wrong while he was off, and he was kind of blamed for it. And it's bad enough going back to work when you've been on holiday without walking into a huge load of aggro. And then he came home, and there was a letter from me saying how much I appreciated his friendship. And he said to me, that was really well timed, because he really needed something positive that day. So, and that was a comment that Kathy and I got off from a lot of people, actually, that receiving the letter came at a really good time. The second thing I learned is that we shouldn't pass up the opportunity to actually tell people how much they mean to us and how much we appreciate them. So I started Lent. I had a mental list of people I wanted to write to, and one of them was an old chap called Ken, who's been a really great support to me over the years. And then about a week or so into Lent, Ken died unexpectedly, and I never got to write him that letter. And it made me realise that we have a limited time on this earth, and even if we are reasonably young and relatively healthy, other people's time is limited as well. So we have ever-closing windows of opportunity to reach into other people's lives and to tell them how much they mean to us. And the third thing I realised is that actually I have much to be thankful for. I know some really great and fantastic people who have invested much in my life and have shown amazing kindness to me. I owe tremendous debts to so many people that really I can never repay. And when people wrote to me, they said, that it was timely and encouraging and uplifting. But the person who benefited from this whole project was actually me. It made me realise just how fortunate I am to know so many great people. It made me feel really humble and really grateful. And really, I think that's the essence of what Lent should be about. Thank you very much.